Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, today, it's on my mind, parents who teach their kids that officers in any form, police officers, security officers, I mean, everybody loves firefighters and EMTs, they've kind of got a shoe-in on that one, but parents who teach kids that officers of any form are bad, telling your kids, oh, you better sit down in your car seat or that policeman's going to get you. You better keep your hands in your pocket. Don't be grabbing on toys and shoving them in your coat. That security officer's going to get you. It's stupid. Don't do that. Okay? If you want to scare your kids, scare them in a different way. Because when something bad does happen, guess what? Your kid is going to be afraid to go and talk to a police officer, security officer, or whatever the case is, right? So don't inflict that on them, on your kids. Don't teach them that police officers, security officers are bad people, because we're not. We're here to help. Okay, if you want to scare your kids, figure out another way to do it. Because when something bad is happening, they're going to be afraid to come talk to us about it. You could get mugged, and you run away, and you see a police officer. Your kid sees a police officer, and he's going to be afraid to go and talk to him. It's bad juju. No, you shouldn't be doing it. So don't do it. The other thing that's on my mind today is that, everybody has bad days, and at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all people, right? Some people work in cubicles, some people have their own office, some people work in retail, some people work, there's thousands of different kinds of jobs, right? So if you're having a bad day and you work in a cubicle, you can have a bad day, you go to work and you can stay in your cubicle all day and just stay away from everybody. Pretty easy peasy. Whoops, here I am breaking the law. You can stay away from everybody. Easy peasy, right? We don't have that option. So if I'm having a bad day, I've just got to grin and bear it. It doesn't matter, because I can't take my personal frustrations out on people I come in contact with. So, keep in mind that, officers are, they're people too, and they may be having a rough day. They may have just lost a loved one, or, maybe they're not feeling, or just plain and simple feeling under the weather and don't want to feel like, doing anything, but they have an obligation to get up and go to work. And yesterday, for instance, I was extremely lucky to have the day off because I woke up with a debilitating migraine. I was super dizzy, made me throw up a couple times. Now, had I had to work yesterday, I would have sacked up, threw on the uniform, and went to work and dealt with it. But I was lucky enough I didn't have to. Now, the other side of that, my only day off sucked. I didn't get anything done that I wanted to get done. I had a list of crap to do. Not a single thing got done, but I went to class. That was it. And because that's important to me right now, right? So, some people get to hide their emotions and their feelings when they're having a bad day. And some people, officers, law enforcement, don't have that opportunity because they go to work, they get up, they put their uniform on, and they go to work, and they go to work mode. They put their game face on. And that's just something that you got to do. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. We have feelings, we have families, we have bad days. And, it happens. Everybody's had their run-in with law enforcement, whether it be good or bad or indifferent, and it was about a month or so ago. I went to the mall to get some lunch, and I'm walking through the mall in uniform, obviously, and I'm minding my own business, just walking down to the chow hall, the food court, and this lady sitting in a massage chair, and I'm not going to comment on her, which some people say by me saying that I already am, and that's fine. But, just out of the blue, I'm walking minding my own business, and she looks up and goes, "F you, pig," and I'm like, really? I'm thinking to myself, but I didn't say anything, anything derogative, negative. I looked at her, I smiled, I waved at her, and I said, "Have a good day, ma'am," and, went about my business because, maybe she watched law enforcement beat the crap out of her husband. Maybe your husband's locked up. Maybe she's been locked up. Maybe she's been victim of a bad incident with law enforcement, and that's fine. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I get that, and that's perfectly cool. It is what it is. You can't take anything personal. You can't take it to heart. I always say that anybody, and this includes EMS, paramedics, EMTs, fire service, you put on, because it's happened, where EMS and firefighters and so forth and so on have been shot at themselves, have had to deal with, belligerent people, especially administering Narcan or naloxone. Like people come out of an opioid overdose from a Narcan or naloxone. They're generally mad because you blew their high for them. Sometimes people come up swinging on you, and it happens. But I've always said that if you take it upon yourself to get into a job to where you have to put on a uniform and a badge every day, you're painting a giant red target on your back. I think it was last week, just a few days ago or last week, there was a security officer mugged in a parking lot, showing up for duty. And, I don't know the officer. I know some of my friends and some coworkers do. And so I'm not going to comment on, what I think he may have done wrong, because I don't know him. I don't know his training and his skill level set. But, situational awareness, and I did a video on situational awareness too, where, you just got to think about things and you realize, hey, you're always on duty, right? Like your mind should always be in that mindset that, I need to keep my head on a swivel, constantly be looking around, always checking your six, always, things that are out of norm. If you're showing up for duty at a duty station, or, if you're in patrol or whatever the case is, and that business doesn't open until 7, and there's 2 cars sitting in the parking lot and aren't normally there, that's usually a red flag. Or, just always keep your head on a swivel, always be mindful, situational awareness, always be aware of your surroundings. And obviously this, I'm assuming, these people that mugged this guy, the security officer, had cased the place. They knew the routine, So the other part of that is always change up your routine. Don't do the same thing. Don't park in the same spots. Don't drive the same way home every single night. Don't, show up different times. Some days show up half hour, 20 minutes early. Some days show up 5 minutes early, or whatever you're able to get away with per the requirements of the client or whatever the case is, right? So, there's just things to keep in mind. And always have situational awareness. Be aware of your surroundings. Know what's going on around you. And I can't stress that enough, because anything can happen, and especially when you're in uniform. You have a lot of people that, I don't know the statistics. I'm going to look them up, because now I'm curious, thinking about it and talking about it, and then maybe that'll be for another video. But I feel there are more people with negative opinions on law enforcement than positive. So whenever you go out in public, you may get the 2 or 3 people that come up to you, want to shake your hand, say thank you for your service. But, you may get 5 or 6 in a day that mean mug you, have vulgar things to say about you, to you, whatever the case is, I've encountered a lot of people that, have negative and derogatory things to say about me, towards me. And again, like I said earlier, that's fine. That everybody's entitled to their opinion. Not a big deal. Whatever. Thick skin, right? We got to have it working in this industry. But there are the handful of people, and that, hey, thank you for your service. I appreciate what you do. I'm glad somebody's here keeping us safe. I'm glad somebody's in this area, or whatever the case may be, right? Randomly get people to, pay for your breakfast or buy you a cup of coffee, and it's all much appreciated, At first, I would always decline, because I don't like taking gifts. I don't like taking things from people. And now it happens all the time. You go to a gas station, you're in uniform, 99% of the time, don't have to pay for coffee or sodas. But when I do, it's fine. I'm not going to get upset about it. I expect to have to pay for my stuff, because that's right. It's normal. It's the right thing to do. I've had people that work at gas stations say we get unlimited free drinks. I just count yours as, one of mine, and my boss doesn't care. I've had some people that work at gas stations say anybody that comes in uniform, in law enforcement, EMS, fire, drinks are always on the house, and we appreciate that as a whole. But at the same time, if we have to pay for it, that's fine too. Not a huge deal. So there's just keep in mind that don't teach your kids that law enforcement are bad. First off, again, kind of circling back onto the first topic, don't do it, because when something bad happens, they're going to be scared to go and talk to somebody. Your kid gets kidnapped by a family member who has been a closet pedophile for the last 15, 20 years, and he's comfortable with, we'll just say, Uncle Tom, for lack of a better term or whatever. Your 8-year-old kid is comfortable with Uncle Tom, so Tom comes and picks him up to take him for a fishing trip or to go shopping, and all of a sudden, he's doing dirty things to him, and then he happens to get away from him or something, or whatever the case is, and he comes in contact with law enforcement. He's not going to be comfortable enough to tell him Uncle Tom was touching him inappropriately. He's going to hide that, and it's just going to create so many problems for that kid. And it's not good to teach your kids that cops are bad, law enforcement, security officers, whatever the case. It's not good. Don't do it. Second thing, keep in mind, anybody who's wearing a uniform and a badge, they have a life too. They have a family. They have feelings. They have things that happen to them just like you do. So, it kind of goes back to, like I always say, be kind to everyone you meet. They may be fighting a battle you know nothing about. Just because you're having a bad day does not mean that you need to pass that on to somebody else, especially somebody who, is there to help. I mean, essentially that's the case. I've seen so many cases where domestic violence calls, right? So, husband hit the wife, wife's had a bad experience with law enforcement, husband ends up going to jail for domestic violence, battery, but then, the wife has had a bad experience with law enforcement, so she starts popping off the mouth and saying stupid stuff, and then she ends up going for disorderly, or, if she is stupid enough, takes a poke at, a peace officer, so now, she's got, assault and battery on a peace officer, I mean, it's just, no matter what your experience with law enforcement, be smart about it. Be mindful that, everybody, we're all humans. We all have bad days. We all have lives. We all have families to go home to. And it's just something that people need to keep in mind. But on that note, I don't like doing super long videos because I don't want to bore anybody. Coming up on 13 minutes. I'm going to tap out on this one. Stay safe, guys. Always watch your six. Be aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness is 100% key. You got to know what's going on around you. Watch my video on situational awareness. There's key facts in there for anybody, not just people in law enforcement, security, whatever the case. Just everyday things that you as civilians can do to make sure that you and your family stay safe. I recommend everybody should, have some type of self-defense training. You may get, backed into a corner where, somebody may only have a baseball bat or a baton or something, and those are yeah, they're gonna hurt if you get hit by it, but you know what, if you have some type of training to know how to block or to disarm somebody, it makes a world of difference, because then you're not going to the hospital, you're going home, while you're trying to, if you feel comfortable and you have training to do it. I'm not gonna condone anybody just take on somebody that's wielding a bat or something, but if you're comfortable with it and you have some type of training, you turn around and you tell your wife, call 911 right now, and then while this guy's trying to do whatever he's trying to do, you can try to disarm him, you can try to fight with him, only if you have the proper training. Simple as that. I'm not going to say, run out and just try to fight somebody that's trying to mug you if you don't know what you're doing, because you're going to end up getting more hurt or killed. The most important thing is make sure you go home with your family and they go to jail. On that note, you guys have a great day. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Leave me some feedback. Let me know if you guys like the videos. If not, cool, I get it, no worries. There's a billion and one people on YouTube doing these kind of videos, but like I said the other day, I've got some car time. I figured why not capitalize on that time I have in the car and do my YouTube videos like I want. So, I'm only sitting at 20 subscribers. I'm still learning. I don't really know how to get my name out there yet. All those things. Maybe I should sit down and, instead of record videos, watch some videos on how to grow my YouTube channel. Maybe that's what I'll do later or on my next day off. But anyways, have a great day, guys. I appreciate it. Situational awareness, watch the video on that. Some key factors for everybody. And have a great day. Stay safe.